Werden sich jetzt wundern, was ist das denn für ein Auto?
Most people will be wondering what kind of car this is. It's an electric car from China, the Aiways U5, and today we want to see what it has to offer. First of all, let's talk about the impression you get when you sit in it. The whole thing definitely looks quite valuable, here with the leather and the stitching. Everything is really well made, as far as I can see. The steering wheel, yes, has a few buttons, but it's not really my taste in terms of design, but I've definitely seen worse. Otherwise, there's a huge touch display on which you can control all the important functions. At the bottom is the selector lever for driving, and directly above it, also in high gloss black, is a touch surface for the climate control. It certainly looks very classy, and if you open it up, you can fold it up like this, and there's a USB port and a 12-volt socket behind it. One thing I noticed right away is that there is no start-stop button. It's like in some other electric cars, when you step on the brake, the car starts automatically. In most other electric cars that work like this, when I shift into P, the car automatically switches off. That's not the case here. When I switch to P, the car is still on. You can see that because the battery indicator is still lit, so you can see that it's still on, and that's one thing I have to criticize the car for. To switch off the car, you have to select vehicle control on the touch display, and then it says switch off or power off at the bottom left. I press it and now the car is off. You can only see what I think is a beautiful model of the car, but you can see that the car is now off. So, if I now step on the brake again, the display starts up again, the car starts up, and I can theoretically drive off, and that's exactly what we're going to do now.
So, wenn ich jetzt wieder auf die Bremse trete, dann springt das Display wieder an, der Wagen springt an und ich kann theoretisch losfahren.
The attempts of Chinese car manufacturers to gain a foothold in Europe have not exactly been successful in recent years. The bodies crumbled in crash tests, and even low prices failed to convince the clientele. After the appearances with conventionally powered models ended in nothing, the developers retreated to their studios and ventured into electromobility. Let's talk about the general driving impression. It's really pleasant to drive here. The car is surprisingly quiet. It's an SUV, so you sit a bit higher, you have a good overview, the seats are also very comfortable, so there's really nothing to complain about here. What I did notice, however, is that the car has recuperation. You can set it via the touch screen, which is not unusual for electric cars, and there are others like it. But they usually have a so-called B-drive mode, which the car doesn't have here. That means that this recuperation is always active, but when I take my foot off the accelerator, the car needs a second or a second and a half to think about what I want it to do, and only then does it start to recuperate and brake accordingly.
Gehe, dann braucht das Auto so 1,5 Sekunden Bedenkzeit, was ich denn von ihm möchte, und fängt erst dann an zu rekuperieren und entsprechend zu bremsen.
This is also an interesting feature, by the way. The car has a camera that watches me, and if I yawn, or blink a lot, or something like that, the car warns me that drowsy driving is dangerous. It's quite nice, but in the long run it could be a bit annoying. One of the strongest arguments for an e-car from China is undoubtedly the price. For a U5, around €36,000 change hands. That is about half the price that German manufacturers charge for their SUVs in this category. Although the 4.70-meter SUV does not reach the quality of the European premium models, on closer inspection the assembly line workers in China have done a good job. On the powertrain side, the Aiways U5 has a 204 horsepower 150 kilowatts electric motor. With this, it accelerates from 0 to 100 km per hour in 7.8 seconds and up to 160 km per hour top speed. On the speedometer, I have just tried it out, it reads around 168. These figures are all perfectly acceptable and similar to other vehicles in this category, and also okay considering that the car weighs 1.8 tons.
Und auch in Ordnung, wenn man bedenkt, dass der Wagen ja 1,8 Tonnen wiegt.
Aiways promises a range of 410 kilometers according to WLTP. In fact, the U5 can travel around 350 kilometers with its fully charged 63 kWh battery and can then charge energy for 214 kilometers in half an hour at a suitable charging station.
Ein zentrales Thema bei
A key issue with an electric car is, of course, always consumption. During our test drive, a bit of country road, a bit of motorway, a bit of city traffic, we consumed about 24.5 kilowatt hours. That's a little more than the ID4 consumes, for example, but a little less than the Mercedes EQC.
der Mercedes EQC.
When it came to design, the Chinese designers took their cue from what appears to be the international design language. Obviously, the creatives have closely observed the market and created a silhouette that does not offend. This also applies to the interior, which is hardly a mystery. The space is generous. The equipment, especially in the premium version, is reminiscent of the first Japanese models, which showed the European competition how much could be packed into a car for comparatively little money, €38,480. LED headlights, panoramic roof, rain and light sensors, automatic high beams, automatic parking, all-round cameras, heated seats and an automatic distance control are among the standard features. Instead of offering a costly navigation system and driving up the price, the Chinese makers rely on the owner's smartphones, which can be connected to the control system.
System verbinden lassen.
Under the bonnet is a compartment for the charging cable.
Ein Fach für das Ladekabel.
The luggage compartment, with its capacity of 432 to 1,555 liters, is easily enough for a family holiday.
Für den Familienurlaub.
Finally, my conclusion on the Aiways U5. It really only has small weaknesses in detail, and if you can overlook those and the design, which I think takes some getting used to, then it really is a good car, especially at a very, very good price. You can buy an Aiways U5 either online or in one of the Euronics electronics stores. Service is provided by the Auto Garage chain, but they probably have few contacts with the Aiways. The manufacturer has prescribed the first inspection only after 100,000 kilometers. Thank you for watching. See you again soon.